I never do. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Imaginary Boys. I am one of the two hosts, Kawaii Desu, Mr. Habanero, ooh woo woo, and my wonderful secondary host, Mr. Kawaii Desune, Mr. Lettuce, boyoyoi. How are you doing, Mr. Lettuce?
Notice me, senpai.
Ooh, One Piece. How are you doing, buddy?
I am super.
Nice. I'm doing okay. I've been a little.
Are you sure?
You know, it's funny that you say that because actually, I've been kind of stressed out. I've been kind of stressed out lately. Been going through a rough time. I've just been kind of like out of it. I've been having I've been sleeping well. Like, in other words, like I go to bed and I get enough sleep. But I've been having nightmares like every single night for like the last like week and a half. And it's been driving me slowly insane. Like I don't know what to do about it. And I had just like
slow down on the drinking.
Slow down, yeah, probably. You're probably right. I mean I've been just like the whole thing is like because I have been drinking a little bit more lately. But the thing was that I basically said like the reason why is because I opened up a bottle of Coke. Like this is going to be the dumbest excuse you've ever heard in your entire life for why I've been drinking more often than normal. I opened a bottle of Coca-Cola, and as people know, I don't drink soda. I don't like soda. And I had this bottle of Coca-Cola specifically for one purpose and one purpose only.
You know Long Island iced teas?
Exactly. But
hey, bro.
Yeah.
You should have just bought like two 12-ounce cans.
Well, I bought like one bottle, just like, and not even like a liter bottle. It was like one of those tiny, it's less, what?
Like a 20 ounce?
Like
or
the
or 1 liter.
It's one of the bottles of Coke that you buy in like the like when when you're at the checkout stand at a supermarket and they just have like a little cooler with those little bottles of like the plastic bottles of Coke.
Yes, that's 20.
Yeah, so I just bought one of those. That's all I did. I just bought one of those. And my intention was that like I'm not going to drink this out of the bottle because I don't drink Coke. Like I don't drink soda pop. Like it makes me sick. So my intention was, okay, well, I don't want to buy a liter of Coke. That's way too much. I'll buy this one small bottle and I'll just, use it as a splash into my drink because that's what, you do when you make Long Island iced teas. You just kind of splash it into your drink. And I was like, I'm sure like maybe after like, 3, maybe 4, like 2 or 3, I don't know, like Long Island iced teas, like it'll be gone. That bottle of Coke, that small ass bottle of Coke for splashing into Long Island iced teas has lasted me like, I don't know when I first started, but like a week or so, like a week and a half maybe. And
yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah. And I basically said, well, I'm never going to drink this. And but I want to utilize it before it goes flat. So the only thing I'd be using it for is Long Island iced teas. So I guess I'll just have, like one Long Island iced tea. And I did skip a couple of days where I was like not going to do it. But I at the same time said to myself, I want to utilize this before it goes flat. So
I got you.
Yeah. And actually tonight was the last of that bottle of Coke. So I am done. I've had my drinking escapade, which is literally count them one.
You're really sad girl drink drunk bender.
Pretty much. It's just one drink each night. Like it's just been one drink a night. Like literally. And man, it kicks my ass, dude. It kicks my ass.
Man.
The bottle of Coke is gone. After this podcast with this drink, which you might be able to hear rattling, this is the last one for a while. Like, because this has been, pretty intense than each night that I've had them. So I think I'm good for a while. But also I just kind of wanted to like kick back and have like I've been like cuz I've been stressed out about a lot of things, and I've been wanting to like just kind of have that brain fog feeling for a little while,
Oh, I
And
mean, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy who self-medicates with alcohol. I know exactly what it is you're doing,
yeah.
and I'm not judging you for it.
But I mean, I'll be fine. I'll be going back to normal and just dealing with the stress head on like I always normally do. But I was craving a little bit of brain fog, and when you and me decided to do a couple of drinking podcasts, and I finally learned how to make a Long Island iced tea, and also realized that I not only knew how to make one, but I also had all the alcohol in my house necessary to make one. I was like, man, I
Bruh.
should be doing this. Like what am I doing? This alcohol is just going to sit in my house forever. And I've been holding on to this alcohol for a little over a year now, completely untouched. And I was like, it's time to finally do something about this. So there you go. But yeah, so like I said, I've been dealing with a little bit of stress. I'll also be honest, I also kind of vented a little bit on some people, probably in some ways that I shouldn't have. Um, and yeah, it's just been weird. But I'm kind of hoping that I feel like I'm being more productive lately. I'm trying to like actively do more things. I've been applying to some new online jobs that a couple of them have already gotten back to me. So I'm really hopeful about that because I'm really in a state of mind where it's like I just want to work from home. And, that's kind of what I'm feeling like right now. So, but, it's all just coping and figuring out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing now. So, but how have you been? How's stress and life and work been treating you, buddy boo?
I don't get a lot of stress.
Nice. That's nice,
I've,
man.
uh, I've, I don't, I kind of avoid stress, um, because a lot of times if you like take a second to look like 5 minutes down the road,
Mhm.
you could see a lot of shit coming.
Right.
And then it's just a matter of avoid what you can, avoid what you can avoid, and like prepare for what you can't.
Right. Right.
So I don't have a lot of stresses. So no, I'm
That's good,
good.
man. That's good. Like genuinely, that's good to hear, man. Like
I mean, spring plays. I mean, it's spring, so my sinuses are forever a fun like de gunk in the morning.
yeah, that's not too good.
No, no, my allergies and sinuses have always been an issue for me. Thankfully, I work from home, so like if I'm like late getting in front of my laptop because I'm trying to blow all the shit out of my nose so I can breathe properly,
Right.
uh, no one notices and/or cares.
Damn, that's nice. See, but that's like the kind of like that's what I'm trying to get myself set up for is just like working at home, claiming my own hours, like getting that shit done when it's like the most convenient for me and stuff like that. So it's good that you have that set up because it sounds like it's perfect for your lifestyle and all that, homie. Like I feel it. Um but I do want to like try and I don't know. I've been kind of like having a rough time getting myself outside and in the sunlight, and I've been avoiding people and just kind of living like a hermit lifestyle, to be honest. And I kind of like have been trying to motivate myself to try and be outside a little bit more. So that's kind of something I'm trying to do right now a little bit. But I've definitely been feeling that sedentary lifestyle lately for sure. Um, Need to go into town though. That's what I need to do. Need to go out, be around other people. Remember that there's a world past these, four walls and such. Oh man.
I don't know. It sounds like a mistake.
Yeah, I know, right? Real life, come on.
Yeah, I get the world
That's
to come to me,
yeah. Man,
or at least
life,
the interesting parts anyway.
bro, real life is the worst video game ever made. 0 out of 5 would not play again. And that's my Steam
I
review.
don't know. It's better. It's still better than Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Dude, stop hating on Hello Kitty Island Adventure. Like, okay, you know what? Have you ever played Hello Kitty Island Adventure? Have you ever played Hello Kitty Island Adventure?
Not yet. I'm trying to find a
Well,
copy
then why are you passing judgment on a game that you haven't played yet?
because it's Hello Kitty. As I said, it's basically, furries and bronies all kind of rolled into one.
Oh my god. Oh, Lettuce, you said the magic word. You
The
said
F
the
word
Yeah,
or the
you said the F word, bro.
I know,
Oh.
I said what I said, and I meant it too.
Yeah, and that triggered me, bro. It triggered me, bro. So, all right, let's do this.
I
Let's
mean, I
do
guess
this.
My Little Pony. I guess My Little Pony is furries too.
Yeah, I guess so. I
They're,
mean,
they're a special brand called bronies.
yeah, that's literally its own unique fandom at that point, to be honest.
Yeah,
I think you can comfortably say because like furries is like a wide range of different kinds of people, and bronies is like one very specific group of people that may or may not be hanging around in fursuits, depending
and
on
then
what kind of day they're having.
and then they get together and they yiff and they create Hello Kitty on an island while having an adventure game.
So I got a bone to pick with something that is on topic for furries kind of. So I am an avid anime goer fan, guy who watches anime in his mother's basement alone without seeing the outside world and touching female boobies. I'm an
Hey,
avid anime goer.
hey! You're not in your mom's basement anymore.
You right, man.
You've graduated.
You right, man.
You've graduated. You're not as bad as that other guy.
You're right, man. You're
You
right.
you prepare your own meals, and only half of them are chicken tendies.
I was about to say, man. You, you're right. You're right, man.
And
You're right.
and there's no pizza rolls in there either.
You're right. Those give me
You
indigestion.
because you can't eat them.
Because they make me shit myself, bro.
Question: we've never talked about hot pockets. I'm assuming pretty much the same deal with you.
Yeah, they make me shit myself.
Yeah, because that's they're. I mean, all hot pocket is just a really large pizza roll.
Pretty much. Yeah, those are instant indigestion for me personally. No bueno. I like the idea of them, just not the actual consumption of them. um, but anyways, as I said, as an avid anime goer who sits inside his house all day, never understanding how the sunlight works and what real people are like and what boobies feel like and what things like that. As an avid anime goer, I'm watching the current spring release of anime, and one of the things is that there is a lot of good and that there is a lot of bad. I've been watching some really good ones, like I've been watching Spy Family, which is absolutely amazing. I've been watching season 2 of Comey Can't Communicate, which is pretty good. I've been watching one of my favorites, which I am declaring is the best anime of the current spring season. Is I think it's called My Life Trapped Inside of a Dating Simulator, which is like a story about a guy who gets trapped in the world of a female dating simulation game. And it's actually really good. And the ladies are great. And the main character is amazing because he's a total douchebag. And I love that. So I feel like, an easy way to get to my heart when it comes to anime is make your main character like a dickhead or a douchebag or something, and I'll love him. Like I will love that douchebag dickhead character. But anyways, so the main thing was currently one of the most talked about animes that's out right now is Shield Hero season 2. And I personally am a major fan of the first season of Shield Hero. I thought it was very good. I thought it was well executed. It was interesting. I liked how it was just a ongoing story about a man who was obsessed with getting his revenge. But at the end of the season, he does get his revenge, and then it kind of continues into a story that was meh. And season 2 has continued itself into a story of meh. And I have been watching it, and I'm very sad that it is not very good. But one of the things, like there's a bunch of problems I have with season 2 Shield Hero. Like overall, like I would say the most disappointing thing is that I feel like it's boring. Hot topic for, hot take for Shield Hero season 2. I think it's boring. And that's really too bad because season 1 was so good. But the main thing that I am so obsessed with that I can't seem to get any information about or any answer or any understanding of whatsoever is there is a character that they introduced well, actually she was introduced in season 1, but she didn't play a major role in the show until season 2. They have a character, a female, who has green hair, and her name is Rishia. And she was she was a character who was in the group of one of the other hero characters. And the other hero character was kind of an idiotic asshole and kicked her out. And she ends up being forced to join into the main character's party. And, there's all sorts of stuff going on with that. She's a semi decent character, kind of, sort of. She's a little boring, but I mean, she's got some intrigue to her, whatever. The issue that I have that I don't understand, and I've been keeping up with every episode of this show so far. It's currently got 5 episodes out. This character, Rishia, since they first introduced her since they first started utilizing her in season 2 in the main character's party, she is always wearing a fursuit. And they never explain why. And I don't understand it. I don't but I want to understand it. I want them to explain to me why Rishia is always wearing a fursuit all the time at every episode. Like there are times where she's not in a fursuit, but but the majority of the time she's always wearing a fursuit. And and the thing is because I've talked to some people. I've brought it up a couple times with a few different people, and I always get kind of the same joking answer about it. Like, oh, it's an anime, so obviously, sometimes they'll just do stuff and not explain it. Or, oh, it's kawaii desu, so they'll just do that. Or, obviously, maybe she's secretly sexually attracted to being a furry. And it's okay, tell me then. Anime, Shield Hero Season 2, please, just say that. Just have an episode where Rishia comes out in her fursuit and she's just I do this because it sexually turns me on. Or have her come out and be I do this because it's strategically smart for me to pretend that I'm a giant bird. Or just explain it. Just please tell me. Somebody please tell me why Rishia is always wearing a fursuit. Please. Somebody explain it to me. I need to know. I have to. You don't understand. Imagine you're watching this anime. You're watching Shield Hero Season 2. And you're paying attention to the dialogue, and which is not super amazing. It's not, to be honest, season 2 is a weak story, but so far anyways. But imagine you're like paying attention to what's going on, you're trying to get involved in the plot, you want to know, like you're listening to the dialogue, the characters are kind of talking about what's going on, like talking about strategy, like what are they going to do in their next fight, like, you know, what are they doing to mentally prepare themselves or whatever, or they're talking about like their combat tactics or whatever. And then you see Rishia like walk up on scene in her fursuit. And she's like, well, did you ever think that maybe the best strategic option is to do blah, blah, blah? And like, you're just sitting there and like, you want to like take her seriously and pay attention to what's going on. But you can't because you want to know why she's wearing a fursuit. Like, I can't, whenever she walks on scene in her fursuit, I can't think of anything other than asking myself over and over again, why is she in a fursuit? Why, Rishia? Why do you keep doing this? I just want to understand it. Please, Rishia, tell me, why are you wearing a fursuit? I need to know. Because I can't focus on anything else until I get an explanation as to why. Why are you doing this?
Okay.
Help me, Lettuce. Help me.
Okay, I can fix this for you.
All right, man. Because I'm like, okay. I'm emotionally compromised by this. I don't know what to do.
Okay, so you are watching an anime.
Yeah.
And as you well know, anime is a visual medium. You consume it with your eyeballs.
Uh-huh.
Rishia, as you just explained it, is useless. She just she kind of just stands around and is kind of just there. She doesn't have much of a character. She doesn't have much of anything to do. She just kind of sits there, whimpers, and then she throws on, and then she just occupies space with her fursuit.
It's true. Yeah, it's true, man.
Okay. So we have a visual medium, and we have to, like, there are, like, in a visual medium, you have the concept of the composition.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to fill out the screen as interestingly and as completely and as evenly as you can. You want the whole display to be you don't want to push the attention over so to just one part, because then like you just lose half the screen.
Right.
I
can understand that.
If your composition is off, you just lost half of your visual real estate.
Okay, I can see that.
Rishia exists as something to put in that other half of that screen, because she's not a useful character at all.
I would agree.
So you put her in a fursuit, and she is there, and she's interesting looking because she's in a fursuit. So whatever's happening on the other half of the screen, while she's just sitting there whimpering, it fills out the full screen.
Right.
She's basically there to justify being 16:9 widescreen and not 4:2 and not 4:3 and not 4:3 and not a 4:3 full screen.
All right, man. So,
because there is no point. If there was a reason for her wearing a fursuit, there would be more of a character to her. She might. The thing is like, if it was an action scene, she would just be action lines.
Mm-hmm.
Like they fill up the screen with action lines instead of using her. But it's not, it's a dialogue scene, so you kind of have to fill it up with you have to fill up the screen with interesting things. Unfortunately, if two people are talking, you have background characters, and this character is over here to balance the scene.
But like it would take like how like it how long does it take to say I wear a fursuit because so and so? Like like how like
Have they established anything else with her character?
well, I mean, she does
Have
have like a
they,
background, but like it's not a very good background. It's not the most
okay, okay. So in order to get her to the point where she can say I do this because, and anybody giving a rat's tail,
uh-huh.
she has to spend they have to spend hours upon hours getting us to the point where we give a shit about why she's wearing it.
Maybe it's like a twist. Maybe there's like a twist to like why she's wearing it and they just don't want to reveal it yet.
Yeah, maybe they haven't. Yeah, maybe they haven't written that character, like written anything for that character yet. But she's in a fursuit because it's Japanese, so we're quirky, and we think, that we have to fill half the screen with cat girls and lolicon and shit.
See, you know what?
We can't just draw beautiful scenery and put people in the middle of the effing shot. We have to do this really weird like sliding pan thing. So the characters are kind of walking off center. So we have to put something over here on the other side to balance the scene.
So
We're goofy, quirky, Japanese design artists.
Okay, so what cracks me up is the statement you just made about you're like, oh, like we're quirky and we do cat girl and lolly and blah 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 blah, and like it made me laugh hearing you say that because I got to ask you right now, you've never seen Shield Hero, right? You've never seen it before?
I've never seen Shield Hero, but this sounds like the place where they're gonna have a 800-year-old vampire that looks like she's 11, and there's probably either a cat or rabbit girl somewhere in the middle of the show as well.
So two of the main characters in the show, one is like a 12 or 13-year-old raccoon lady who has magically matured into a full-grown woman. And the other one is like a 1 or 2 year old like bird woman who has like magically matured into a full grown like lolly girl character who transforms into a giant bird.
That's not lolly. That's reverse lolly. Where they've got the mentality of a 5-year-old, but the body of a 25-year-old. That's reverse lolly, and I don't even think that's any better.
But it's funny to me because you haven't even seen the show, but you already know exactly what the characters are like.
And this is why I don't get that heavy in anime.
Yeah, man.
Because the Japanese people, they wear their tropes like a badge of honor. They're like, no, I'm going to conform to genre standards.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah, I want my kitsune. I want my lolicon.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, they have so one of the main characters is Raftalia, and she's a raccoon girl. And the idea is that when he first gets her, she's like, I think she's like 12 or 13 years old. And she literally is a lolly. Like she's a teeny tiny 12 or 13-year-old girl with a 12 or 13-year-old girl body. And there's this whole like thing that they do where like they literally explain like that they mature through their relationships, and then as like the main character and her bonded over time, like in a very short amount of time in the first season, her magical ability makes her body grow into a woman size, but she's still like 12 or 13 years old. She just has like a woman-sized body with like full breasts and hips, and she's probably like, 5'6" or something like that. But she starts out as a tiny little raccoon girl. So, and she like 12 or 13 years old or some shit like that. And then they introduce I can't remember, I think her name is because they're like chocobos. Basically, they have like a race of birds called that are, I think they're called like falalols or falulals or something like that, but they're basically chocobos. Lettuce, if you can imagine like a race of chocobos, they're just, that's what they are. And they have like,
That's
that's the chocobo theme, right? So they have these like falafels or falafels or whatever they're called, and they're basically chocobos, and they have like a queen falafel or chocobo or whatever. And the idea is that he hatches a falafel chocobo egg, and he gets this cute little puffball chocobo that's different from all the others. And it is basically a, like they kind of have like they're kind of like bees almost in a sense, where like there's like a born as a queen of the chocobos essentially. And but she's not actually a queen because there's only one queen, and the actual queen already exists, and who happens to be, by the way, the queen of the falafels that are chocobos or whatever, is a lolly who's like 8,000 years old, but she's got that tiny little lady body, of course. um because that's what we do in Japan. But yeah, and then she becomes gigantic chocobo queen chick, and then she transforms into a human girl because that's what her magic power looks like, lets her do. But she's technically 1 years old. Like if you go by the point that she's born in the storyline and like how much time has passed up until currently, she's basically a 1 year old. But she has like the body of like, I don't know, she looks like she's maybe 10, like when she takes on her human form. So take that for whatever you will. So it's you know what, the more like since you've like really brought this up, it definitely, the more I think about it, it's definitely a furry anime. Like we have the furry raccoon lady, we have the furry chocobo lady, and now we've got the girl who is a human girl who wears a goddamn fursuit, and we don't know why. We don't know why she wears a fursuit. I've had sleepless nights, Lettuce. Sleepless nights trying to figure out why she wears a fursuit. But I mean,
because it's the only way anybody would. It's the only way that the director could justify having her in a scene. Because otherwise, she's just useless. Because she's not some like magical lolly or some cat girl. She's the normal human of the group.
I'm starting to think that the writer is just a furry, and he's like, oh, I need to introduce a main character that's not a bird or a raccoon, and she has to be human. Well, put that bitch in a fursuit. Now she's hot. There we go. Dress that bitch up like a fat bird. That's what gets my motor running. Oh my god. I don't know, like it's kind of like uh in theater terms or writing terms. There's a saying we have called I think it's called the rifle on the mantle. You've heard of that, right, Lettuce? The rifle on the mantle? Do you know that term?
Sorta.
So the concept of the rifle on the mantle, it's a saying about when you're in, it's basically a stage play term. Basically, the saying goes is that if if you have a play and you're in a room and you show a rifle sitting on a mantelpiece in Act 1, then you better have used that rifle by Act 2. That's the saying, basically. And the concept of it is that if you show something that appears to be significant, then you must utilize it in some way or another soon. That's if you're drawing attention to something like that, it must be utilized. That's the basic concept of the rifle on the mantle. And when you have your main character, one of your 3 main characters, in a goddamn fursuit, you need to give it purpose, please.
It's perfect. I just gave you
I know.
In order to calm your tits,
Yeah.
milady. I have given you the exact purpose for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the idea is utilizing purpose in storytelling terms, like plot development and things like that. But like I said, it could be possible that it's something that will be defined in the future. Who knows? I'm really hoping that they go that direction.
I'm hoping they don't. I'm hoping she gets character development and they don't feel like they have to put her in some weird armor.
They're just gonna like the whole show. She's just gonna have a fursuit and they never explain it. And I'm gonna be like watching Shield Hero season 2 all the way to the end. And by the end of it, I'm gonna be like sitting in the fetal position in a corner, like a dark corner of the room, rocking back and forth, just being like, "Why does she wear the fursuit? Why does she wear the fursuit? Why? Why, Rishia? Why do you do this? Why?"
Next time you see her in her fursuit, you're like, oh, they're just filling out the scene. Somebody else, two other people are talking, and she's over off to the side, making mouth noises, trying to fill the scene out a little bit.
I think what I might end up doing is I might rewatch all the episodes I've seen so far. Like I'm not going to go all the way back to when they first introduced her in season 1 because they don't put her in a fursuit in season 1. I'm pretty sure I remember that she doesn't start wearing a fursuit until season 2. And I'm thinking I might go back and I might watch all 5 of the current released episodes of Shield Hero season 2. And I'm going to carefully, like with a magnifying glass, observe and pay attention to every single piece of dialogue, hoping that maybe they'll explain why Rishia wears a fursuit.
No, they'll never explain it. And once she gains a purpose, they don't need to be so gaudy with her, or like they can afford to be more subdued with her, especially if she actually ever gets into an action scene, heaven forbid. And it becomes more difficult to animate her in a panda outfit.
She has a thing for birds. Her fursuits have been birds. Like there's a penguin and a giant chocobo outfit, I guess. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else.
She has I mean, given who she's in a party or who she's in a group with, having a thing for birds is kind of explanatory. And maybe she's wearing that fursuit to culturally appropriate her teammate. Maybe she's just being a dick about it.
Like she's just like a sexier bird than you are.
Like a white woman with cornrows.
Oh my god. She's like, damn straight I'm rocking that bird booty better than you are.
There you go.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
Since the director is not going to give you a reason, I just gave you a reason, and it's a damn funny one. And now that character's the best one in the anime.
You have single-handedly taken the worst character in the show and made her the most entertaining character in the show. I applaud you.
I mean, I could be a pretty good writer of animes.
I bet you could, man. You've probably watched enough hentai to be a professional, like, anime writer.
outlined this really, like this really in-depth story about the impending doom of the world,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
then some Japanese salaryman is sitting across the table and goes, "Will there be titty?" I mean, like, it's an anime, duh.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Of course,
Come on.
what are these titties gonna do? Jiggle.
Dude, I've been way into like booby animes lately. I've been watching a lot of booby animes
And
for sure.
the thing about booby animes is they don't jiggle very well. For the most part, they're firm, perky, and just kind of sit there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like they're big, they're shapely, they definitely look feminine,
Yeah.
but they don't. But they don't have the kind of Team Ninja jiggle physics.
Definitely agree with you for the majority of that. Like the majority. There's a few outliers, but the point is that those are outliers. The
Yeah,
majority of the time you are correct.
I'm gonna create. You know how like there's 3D modeling.
You're gonna do like a what's it called?
I'm gonna do a 3D to like
DOA extreme, but anime form.
yeah, like I'm gonna take Team Ninja's breast physics model.
Yeah,
And
let's go.
I'm gonna get like a 3D modeling for anime,
Right.
and then I'm gonna combine the two, and then we're gonna just make computer animated 3D animes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to have jiggle physics.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, that's
That's,
actually been slowly becoming more and more popular, what you literally just explained, which is they have been doing a lot of animation styles where they literally put very hot women in the ball suits, if you've ever seen those. And then they just literally act out some of the
and a
scenes.
mocap.
And, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they do. Yeah, they do. Like, it was only a matter of time before they got somebody figured out a CG process
Mm-hmm.
to capture kind of the anime art style,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but to render it as a high poly 3D model,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then people just use it for VTubing.
Essentially, yes. Yeah. In fact, actually, yeah, that's pretty much what's being primarily used for at this point a lot, which is why also I've learned that the models, that the CGI models that they make for VTubing are extremely expensive. They're crazy
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. Somebody had to
Yeah.
design that. Somebody had to design that thing, and to track.
Physics and all.
Yeah, to track the like every because like you have to animate because you have to have every expression. You have to be able to animate like everything, and then
Right.
you have to be able to transition between each and every subframe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like,
It's actually pretty interesting stuff, to be honest. Like, especially when you learn about it.
oh yeah, no, like it's like there's a lot that goes into the VTubing software.
Yeah. Yeah. A while ago, I wish I could remember the name of it. I feel bad that I can't, but a while ago I was watching an anime that was it was really fascinating because it was an older anime. I think it went all the way back to, I think it was like made in 2011 or 2012 or something like that. And for the life of me, I can't remember it, the name of it. But what was really fascinating is the anime itself was not the most spectacular of anime. It wasn't like the most compelling anime I'd ever seen. Like the writing wasn't the most fantastic thing I'd ever seen. However, what made this anime that I can't remember the name of, I'm sorry guys, so fascinating was that it was one of, at the time in 2011 or 2012, one of the major pioneers for CGI animated characters. Like they were experimenting with the software heavily and they used it very sparingly in the actual anime that they were making, because it was still not very refined. There was still a lot of experimentation, but they were trying to like utilize it here and there, because they were pushing for its, you know, development and trying to like show that it could be used for animation. But what made it really apparent that it had potential was at the like, because they would only use it sparingly in the actual show, but what made it show that it had potential and that it was growing was at the end of every episode, they would do an outro sequence. Like they would do their preview for the next episode, and they would always bring out the main lady characters as CGI models with like physics and everything. So like when they would turn and like talk, like because they have like turning motions, their boobs would jiggle, their boobs would jiggle. Their CGI boobies would jiggle. And like I was really like, the thing is that really impressed me about it was it, if I remember correctly, it was 2011 or 2012. The show was literally like at the time a pioneer for CGI animation modeling in an actual anime show. And like I said, they only used it sparingly in the actual show. They barely ever used it. I think they used it a few times. Like they would show like large, like faceless armies of bad guys to be fought, and they would use the CGI models for these faceless, you know, bad guys that would be fought, because they were just toss asides. They didn't need them to look super pretty. They just had
Yeah.
to like be the basic model for the other characters to fight, which were properly drawn and animated. But then at the very end, they would have these very polished experimental animated CGI models to do the intros for the new episodes. And I was impressed by it. I was like, this is 2011 or 2012? Holy crap, this is amazing looking. Like, this is so good for this time period. Like, wow. I wish I could remember it, but it, like I said, it wasn't a very good anime, but it was absolutely astounding when you consider the idea of the year that it was created and the technology that they were trying to pioneer with at that time for it. It was very interesting. So, but yeah, that would be the Jimmy Jams. Just basically, I'm all on board Mr. Lettuce's anime idea, where it's just basically Dead or Alive Extreme, the anime with CGI boobies. Let's go. I where can
Yeah.
I throw my money at you for this?
Yeah. You know, just a Mechana uh anime where, you know, I can easily drop a character model, animate it, and her talents have proper physics attached to them. Her their her particles have
Yeah,
all the appropriate particle physics.
all the necessary polygons, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be down to clown with that. Like I said, I've been watching a lot of booby animes, and when I say booby anime, what I mean is a booby anime is for me an anime, because like lots of anime show boobies. Okay, they really, there's plenty of animes that have boobies all over the place. Sure, but a booby anime specifically means to me an anime where they are not afraid to show nipples. That's the one identifying factor of whether or not a anime with boobies in it can be considered a booby anime. If you see nipples, if you can see those areolas, that is a booby anime. And there are a few really good ones, and some of them have they pay attention to the jigglies, which is very fun. I was watching season 1, the first series of To Love Ru, which I can hear the laughter already from the audience. I hear you guys out there. I hear you laughing at me. Oh, To Love Ru? Really? To Love Ru. Really? That one. That's the one you watched. Yeah, yeah, I watched To Love Ru. I watched it. I watched it when I was a teenager and I remember enjoying it, but I didn't remember anything about it. So I rewatched it. And I gotta say, if you have not watched it recently, I expected it to be something that was not going to be good. I thought that it was going to be one of those animes where it's like, oh, I loved it as a teenager, but now watching it through the eyes of an adult, it's terrible. No, 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 no. To Love Rue, the original series, it holds up. And man, let me tell you, there's some nice titties in To Love Rue. I gotta say, there's some nice titties in there. Like some that is a booby anime. And let me tell you, if you're watching the right version of the show, like I'm sure that there's probably some websites out there that, or where whatever normal site or whatever, they'll probably censor it. But let me tell you, they're not afraid to animate those sweet, sweet nipples. And let me tell you, they look great. But it's so good though. I gotta say, like, first of all, the majority of the characters in the first To Love You series are dynamic. Every single lady, every single individual lady, except maybe two of them, have individual unique personalities that you can distinctly tell apart from one another. Which I feel like is a rare thing. Like we literally just talked about a character named Rishia, and she has some like characteristics, but she's so boring and uninteresting, and she's just a girl that just takes up space. In To Love Rue, every single goddamn girl character has a unique personality. They all have flaws. Like every single girl character can be a bitch at like one time or another for completely unique reasons that feel absolutely realistic. They're also smoking fine. And I don't know, and like the thing is that I loved about it, that show is so funny. Like, like I can only watch like a stereotypical romantic anime comedy so far with your stereotypical like jokes that are like oh, he's a pervert, like oh, he stumbles into the bathroom when she's naked, oh, like there's only so much of that I can handle before it's just the same old shit over and over again. To Love Rue has some of the freshest, funniest shit I've ever seen. Like there was an episode I watched. There was like an episode where they I can't it was basically like they were hosting like a show where like they introduced, I think, this rich girl character named, I think her name's like Tojo or something like that, and she's a major bitch, but like she wants to do everything she can to like humiliate like the main girl character, and like everything she does just absolutely backfires on her. She's basically the wily coyote like desperately trying to capture uh Roadrunner, and it is literally like watching a 20-minute Looney Tune. It is the funniest shit. Like, I didn't even care. Like, yes, there's some sexy stuff going on. Yes, there's boobies. Yes, there's some elements of romance. But god damn, it was so funny. I was like laughing so hard to that shit. It was so freaking hilarious. Like I said, like I love me a good Looney Tune. I love me some merry melody action. Okay, I love some classic animated slapstick bullshit. Like drop an anvil on the Wily Coyote's head a couple of times, and that shit'll get me laughing. And like when an anime can like do that, so just like have such finesse with being absolutely hilariously ridiculous, and you just feel like you're just watching like a classic stupid silly cartoon, like, and like put in some boobies here and there. It's like it's like watching a Looney Tune, but like the characters are sexy and sometimes you get a nip slip. I don't know, I loved it. I don't know, I love me some good booby anime action, especially when it's like really funny or something like that. So, oh, have I convinced you yet, Mr. Lettuce, to start watching anime again? Have I done it yet?
No.
No. Okay, that's okay. I didn't think I would, but I mean, have you have you ever watched a hentai that made you laugh? Like it completely just spoiled the mood and it just made you laugh, because I've seen a couple like that before.
I mean, any hentai that you have subbed and dubbed.
Yeah.
Like if you want comedy gold,
Bible Black.
Take a hentai, sub and turn on subs and turn on dubs, and then just watch as the English delivery doesn't quite match the tone, nor does it match the words on the screen.
I always remember, like, when I was like a teenager, I almost want to revisit it, to be honest, but I remember as a teenager watching Bible Black for the first time, and I was like, this shit ain't turning me on, but holy shit, it is so funny. It is so funny. I always remember the teacher, the teacher that grows the massive dog.
Yeah, she's just sitting there, and all of a sudden, swing.
It's so funny. It's so funny. Oh man, I should watch some Bible Black, dude, for some classic laughs.
And her schlong looks like a elongated thumb.
It does. But like, for some reason, have you ever noticed when it comes to like watching those henties with the dick chicks and when they have the monster cocks, have you ever noticed that it's like bulgy halfway down the shaft?
No, I haven't actually noticed that.
You've never noticed that?
No, like a lot of the voodoo porn I watch, the artist and the director took very, very good care to make sure that schlong is well animated.
It looks like
and drawn beautifully.
It looks like a goddamn like a spike, like a conical spike.
No, I mean I've seen hentai with bad looking genitalia, but then I realize Japanese people are weird. You can take 3 women and shish kebab them with an octopus tentacle, but don't show their nipples
or clit. You can't show the clit either.
Yeah. And if you get a butthole shot, it has to be an asterisk.
It's true.
It can't actually look like they can't look like a human anus. It has to be an asterisk.
So that's something I don't understand. They can show, like, they censor out nipples and clit, but asshole, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. A-okay. Yeah, absolutely like, A-okay.
But it's like, but as I said, it's like a little asterisk there sitting there.
Oh man.
Like they don't have a butt. They don't have butt crack. They just like asterisks.
Someday, the Japanese people will learn to appease the butthole appreciating audience.
I think we have to drop another atom bomb on them. I think.
Dude, you can't say that, man.
I think what happened was one was too much, and 2 apparently wasn't finishing the job. Like the correct answer was 0 or 3.
Oh my god. Am I gonna have to censor that out? Like that whole thing?
No! Why would we have to censor that? I'm not the first person to say that. Maybe we should nuke them again to see what kind of goofy shit to come up with now.
We can't say that.
I mean, they've been living with the love of the bomb so much. Like we get things like Godzilla because they know what's up. They know what we did to them.
Oh my god!
There's an irradiated gecko living like a mile underneath the ocean, just growing and growing.
Oh god, I'm dying over here. That was so funny. It was so inappropriately funny.
Giving how much you laughed, I don't think we can cut it, man.
Oh my god. I'm like in
Like I don't
tears.
like I will be the first one to say,
Oh,
like, I don't condone nuclear war, but
thank
let's
you for
face the
that. Thank you. I just want to say here right now, the imaginary boys do not condone nuclear warfare in any sort of fashion, and anything that happened in the past in that sort is absolutely not
no, no, yeah, no, no,
condonable.
like I mean they did attack us,
Yeah, that's yeah.
and I mean it's not like it was a war crime to do what we did to them.
Oh my god.
Um, it it was just, you know,
It was just one step before dick chicks, bro.
just imagine what would have happened if there was three. Like imagine all the cool stuff we would have gotten from Japan then. Maybe they wouldn't have made maybe
Oh,
they would have never made Sonic the Hedgehog.
was Sega? Wait, was Sonic the Hedgehog developed in Japan?
Yeah,
Is that how?
Sega's a Japanese company.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are confused because
Oh my
Sega was
god.
really Sega started off being really popular in Europe, but no, Sega's a Japanese company.
Was Sonic developed in Japan though?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah,
Huh.
no, yeah. The Sonic Team is a Japanese development studio.
I was thinking about looking it up, but then I realized I don't want to look it up, so I'm just going to trust you. I trust you, Lettuce. I trust you. Oh my god. Oh man. Japan, you're wild, wacky, and fun, and I love you, honestly. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and say, because I feel like one thing I will say, despite my weebish nature, I have never wanted to live in Japan. I've always wanted to go to Japan and like visit it, like for a vacation. But man, I would never want to live there. Like ever. Like, and I know that everybody's like, but that's the weeb dream, man. Living
No,
in
it's not.
Japan. And it's like,
No, it's
dude,
not.
Japan is like I've learned a lot about Japan over the years, and like that place seems like a miserable place to live. Like absolutely miserable. And like I even heard some stories because my sister visited Japan and hung out there for a while, and so they're very Japan is a very xenophobic place, like a very xenophobic place, and like
Yeah, it
if
wasn't
you're
until we showed up with gunboats that they actually did a trade outside of Japan.
yeah, but it's like I've heard some absolute horror stories about foreigner like people from America and other countries trying to like move to Japan, and like the bureaucratic nightmare of like even being able to stay there as a foreigner, or like even just, the the blatant, like just like the xenophobic tendencies that they have. Like they don't want to like give you any kind of special treatment whatsoever. They're
No,
harsher than normal for sure. And they're even like I even heard stories like I was watching. There's a few channels that I watch of like YouTubers that I enjoy who live in Japan. They're like foreigners, like European or Australian or even American, that
PewDiePie.
live in Japan, and they talk about like how extremely hard it is to be a foreigner who wants to live and be in Japan and just be treated like the way that they are. And one of the things is simply just like there are places like literally like apartments and living situations where if you're a foreigner they just won't let you in. Like it doesn't matter like if you have a job that pays a lot of money and like you're very well off, and even if you speak Japanese fluently, like if you're a foreigner, there are places that are just like you're a foreigner, you don't get to live here, you're not allowed. Like just because like you're not Japanese, you don't get to live here. And like I'm just like, how? Like why? Like, why would you want it? Like, why? Like, not necessarily why do they act that way, but like more like why, with you being somebody who's from America or Europe or Australia or whatever, why like would you want to be there if they're just going to treat you like that all the time, even if you speak fluent Japanese? Like, because there's one that I follow who's he's an Australian guy, and he's half Australian, half Japanese, and he speaks Japanese fluently. Like, it's literally like he's a fluent, avid Japanese speaker. And whenever, like, Japanese people speak behind his back, or in Japanese, he can respond to them because he knows what they're saying, and he'll like respond appropriately to them, like, basically like, yes, like, I look Australian and I don't look Japanese, but I know exactly what you're saying and I know exactly how to respond to you, like, hello there. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I just don't understand, like, when and I mean, they even have like crazy strict systems as well. Like, their government is just so strict and intimidating, and their businesses are draconic. Like, I mean, you and me,
Yeah.
Lettuce, we've talked about Nintendo's like draconic business, state, like, multiple times.
Yeah, but
It's
that's almost every
ridiculous.
jet. The thing is like we say Nintendo, but to be perfectly honest, Nintendo's not the only company
Yeah. Well, I
that does
mean,
what Nintendo does.
yeah, that's true. That's true. But a lot of businesses in Japan are just very draconic, and they don't even understand fair use. And like I said, like, I've been a person who's been victim to Japanese inability, um, like Japan's inability to understand fair use, because I've had my anime videos struck before. So, and I had to take them down. Um, so it just blows my mind, like, I don't know. Like, eventually, like, it's one of those things where it's like, eventually, like, you want to believe that they have to evolve. Like, they can't just live that way forever, because otherwise they're literally going to eventually hit the, global wall. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Do you think that'll ever happen, Lettuce?
No,
You don't think so?
they're a scrappy and industrious bunch of people. They
It's true.
them and the Germans. I
But I
mean,
mean,
at some point, Japanese, like every person in Japan is going to have like 3 by 3 by 7 filing cabinet that they call an apartment.
yeah, their living spaces are crazy tiny. But then again, it's because they're high populations in small.
Yeah,
um
I mean,
yeah.
they have a population. They have a population density issue because let's face it, there's only so much of the island that is habitable.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't really you can't really build cities or villages off the side of a very steep mountain.
Mhm. Yeah.
And Japan is a bunch of cities and steep mountains.
You know, have you ever, like, just like, cuz you brought up like mountains and stuff like that. Like, have you ever, like, looked into the weird stuff that is surrounding Mount Fuji? Have you ever been curious about that before?
No,
It's super weird, dude. Like, there was a period of time where I was obsessed with, this was back when I was in college and stuff like that. I was very obsessed with researching. This had nothing to do with, like, cuz I said, like, yeah, I've explained before, I was studying botany a lot in college, but this had nothing to do with any of my actual college activities. This was just something I did on my free time. I used to research um weird terrain, like, just like really weird, um you know uh like, just really weird geographical locations, basically, like things that people didn't understand, with like, there, one in particular was my favorite, which was Tunguska. I was obsessed with Tunguska. I used to do so much insane amount, which is has nothing to do with Japan. That's actually in Siberia. But I used to research weird geographical locations like Tunguska and stuff like that. And one of the ones that always came up that was crazy fascinating was Mount Fuji and all of the areas that directly surround Mount Fuji. Like, it's super weird. There's all sorts of weird shit that happens in that area. Like, for example, like I mean, you know about the notoriously, like, the infamous suicide forest, right? You know about that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you, Jake Paul.
yeah, but I mean, well, I don't want to, I'll be that guy. I was researching, learning about, I mean, never visited, but I was researching and learning about the suicide forest before the whole Jake Paul incident. Um, but it's super weird. There is some weird shit, like ignoring the fact that, there's literally an uncountable number of deaths that occur in that forest. Ignoring that, there's other insanely weird bullshit that happens in that forest all the time. First of all, one of the things that is considered to be really strange is compasses. Compasses don't work in that forest. So, like, if you go into that forest with a compass, that compass ain't going to do shit. You know, the classic, like, when they in some movies where they're like, ooh, they're in a strange mysterious area and they don't know where they are, and then they pull out their compass and the needle starts spinning like nonstop. Like that needle spin thing.
Yeah.
That shit happens when you're in that forest.
Well, yeah, it's because the forest is sitting on top of an iron vein.
Yeah. Well, that's a major part of it as well. But
Yeah.
there's other stuff too, which is the there are only a few limited pathways through the forest that are allowed to be explored. And they're not very long, and they basically have like ropes following alongside of those pathways, and there's signs everywhere that basically say, please do not stray from this path, like, do not do it. And there's only, I think, like, there's only people that work for the forest are allowed to stray from the path, and they have to use strings to make sure that they don't get lost, because the forest itself is so dense. It's so like, literally, like, trees, like, sometimes to pass through like areas in the forest, you would have to like squeeze your body between trees, to get through. So it's this crazy dense forest. um there's also been, I think, like, recorded things of like people seeing lights, like, just in the distance in different areas and stuff like that. I mean, you could be like, oh, these are just ghost stories, and it's like, yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. But there's wild stuff about that forest, and it takes forever to even be able to cross the forest far enough to even get to the foot of Mount Fuji in the first place. Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's this crazy place that is very difficult to explore, and there's just a lot of weird shit that happens in it. And they even say that, like, people who enter into the forest, even if you're following alongside of the path, they they get the urge to stray away, to, like, leave the path and go in different directions and see things, and which is super duper dangerous. Like, it's crazy dangerous, because um it becomes nearly impossible to pathfind your way back, unless you're, like I said, like, using strings or ropes or whatever. It's wild. It's wild stuff. But I don't
Or
know.
like,
Any
high end like actual satellite link GPS instead of uh cellular triangulation GPS.
I think that it's been stated that GPSs don't work in the forest either. I can't remember.
Live sat GPS works. Cellular triangulation probably doesn't work due to the magnetic interference from the ground.
I'm kind of curious. I just want to look it up real quick, just out of curiosity. Because I used to be really into this stuff before. Okay, so, and it basically says exactly what you just said, which is The soil has a high iron content, which we established already, which interferes with GPS and cell phone signals. This is a very easy place that you can get lost. Visitors are strongly encouraged to stay on the trails. And then they explain the other really scary part, which is there are some people, however, who enter the forest with the intention of not returning. So there you go. I don't know. I always thought that stuff was really interesting. I was always like, I mentioned Tunguska before. Tunguska's absolutely fascinating to me. Um, I love weird geographical locations. Like, if you guys ever want to go through like a crazy trip of like learning about just the absolute most hostile land on the planet. Like, it's literally like you go there and you die. Like there was actually, I watched a documentary at one point that was about a research party that went out to Tunguska to like go and document a bunch of the land in that area, because it was literally undocumented and barely mapped. Like, there was some old mapping that was done a long time ago, but it was barely documented and properly researched. And this research party went out there to go and document it, and they were planning a 2-week trip across the Death Valley of Tunguska, and that's literally what it's referred to as, the Death Valley of Tunguska. And they went out there, and within 3 days of being out there, they had to call in an emergency helicopter to pick them up and take them back to the nearest hospital. It was a research party of, I believe, 5 people, and the main guy who led the research team and the cameraman both came down with a mysterious sickness. Like, they both got really sick, like super badly sick. Supposedly the cameraman uh had his symptoms show up before the head researcher did, and they had to call in an emergency helicopter to fly them back to a hospital. And when they arrived at the hospital, the symptoms essentially alleviated themselves with, proper medication or whatever, and some pretty normal stuff. Like, it was, just, it kind of went away, but with basic medication. And supposedly they said that it was like a weird radiation poisoning that they'd never seen before. It was like just like this weird sickness that just being in that area was just making them sick. And supposedly, based on what they were experiencing, it would have happened to everybody. And they don't 100% know like what caused it. And that doesn't even begin to explain like that's just like being in the area and experiencing it. And they didn't even get to some of like the super deadly areas. Like, there's like the majority of it is like these weird marshlands with spherical pools, and just like an open valley of like, there's like dead trees everywhere, and like there's just a whole area where nothing can survive, and there are like animals out there, but it's just like basic, like, elk and wolves. But like, it's crazy because they've flown over the area, and there's just this open valley with like marshes and stuff like that. And then there are like trees along the sides of the marsh, and the trees are just like dead. They're just like, there's no leaves growing on them. Like, like they have no bark. They're just like white dead trees ready to fall over. It's nuts. And on top of that, in Tunguska, there was a famous incident where the oh god, I just barely remember it. I can't remember the full name of it, but it was a huge explosion that occurred in like, I think it was like 1918 or something like that. And there was this crazy huge explosion where it is believed that a comet or something was flying towards Earth right into Tunguska, and somehow it just exploded without actually touching the ground. So like there's this big like crater in Tunguska where this like gigantic comet like fell, but it never made contact with the ground. It just literally exploded right above the ground. It's super weird. And like to this day scientists like there's like theories on like how it could have happened, but we still have no idea like how that comet like exploded like right above the ground. And like there's been like debates as to whether, oh well, was it an asteroid or was it a comet? And it's like they've sent people out to research the area, and it's like, well, over here we see traces that it could have been a meteoroid, but over here we see traces that it probably was a comet. And it's like, but it couldn't have been both because it couldn't be a comet and an asteroid at the same time. But there's traces of both. It's super weird. It's just super weird, really fascinating stuff if you're at all interested in that kind of thing. I don't know. But I used to love stuff like that. Like, I mean, people like cryptids and stuff like that. I just like weird geographical locations that don't make sense.
Yeah,
Are you, well, I was going to ask, are you into like weird stuff like that at all, or do you just not care?
my weird things are more. There was a fascination for me at one point, like how borders for things are drawn and decided,
Oh yeah, like state borders and country borders.
and sometimes disputes, like not like disputes that end up with uh, people eating bombs, but uh, things like that.
Yeah, man.
Sometimes I used to be kind of like I used to have a fascination with that. Not so much anymore, but I used
Hmm.
to, like when I was younger.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I feel about it too. Like, for example, like I haven't fawned over my fascination of Tunguska in like years. Like, this is like probably the first time in probably years that I've really heavily talked about it. Um, but I think that's kind of like that's like one of those things that you go through, like because that was probably like you were probably a young adult when you were interested in that stuff, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
like in my like 20-year-old me.
Hmm. Well, I think it's kind of like I feel like everybody kind of goes through a period of their life when they're young adults where it's like the idea of like being obsessed with like conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And I feel like that's kind of a stage a lot. I mean, I know that there are some people that literally live that life their whole life because I know people that live that life their whole life where they're like obsessed with conspiracy theories and stuff like that. Um, but I feel like a lot of people kind of come out of it after a while, you know? And I feel like that it's different things for different people. Like, for example, like, I mean, I was kind of into conspiracy theories a little bit when I was a young adult, but like,
Right,
I
and
was,
conspiracy theories are. It's always fun to consider what if.
yeah, exactly. But like, I think a part of it too is eventually like you kind of get to that point where you just grow out of it. Cause I mean, my overall thing of like conspiracy theories is like, you kind of grow to a point where you're just like this is not actually affecting me. Like even if this conspiracy theory was true, it's not directly affecting my life. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what I went through. Like I was really into conspiracy theories for a little bit, not super hardcore, but I was kind of like, "Oh, like you said, like what if?" But like then you get to that point where it's like this does not directly affect my life. Like I'm not being killed by a conspiracy theory. Like a conspiracy theory is not currently killing me. It's not currently affecting like my ability to survive in the world at this moment. You know?
I mean, you never know. Like, all the gay frogs might, rise up against you and tickle your taint.
Oh my god. What is that guy's name? I literally saw a meme with him just recently. What is his name?
Alex
The
Jones.
Yeah, yeah, I was about to say, okay, Alex Jones, thank you very much. I literally saw like a meme video recently where they auto tuned Alex Jones. It was so funny, dude. It was so funny. Because they like auto-tuned him saying over and over again, I want to know what they put in the water to turn the frogs gay. And like they just repeated that over and over again, but like in auto-tune. It was so funny. Oh man, Alex Jones, God bless you, dude. God bless you.
Alex Jones got jobbed hard. Hey, he might be back on Twitter now. Thank you.
I mean, he's still doing stuff. Like, I don't think that man can ever stop doing stuff.
Actually, his company went bankrupt.
Oh, well, that I believe, but that ain't going to stop him. Like, I mean, come on, man. It's Alex goddamn Jones.
Yep.
Oh, man. I want to know what they put in the water to turn the goddamn frogs gay. Ah! Oh my god, so good. Yeah, I've just never been too fond of conspiracy theories. Like, I do think that there was once upon a time where I was like, I vaguely recall being pretty into them when I was younger. But now I just don't care. Like, and a part of it is because like that sounds like it's just something that I'm not interested in being stressed out over. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Yeah. There's so much going on in life on a regular basis to be stressed out over. I don't need to be stressed out about conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, some people take it too far. Some people probably really do need to avoid the rabbit hole for their own well-being.
Yeah. Well, I literally know a couple of people that live their life in fear of conspiracy theories, and it's definitely like a lifestyle for them, like for sure. And I'm just like, man, I'll be honest, I don't want to live that life, man. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'll take the blue pill and do the ignorance is bliss thing.
Yeah, my mind says this is a steak, but I know it's not.
Yeah. The only thing I've learned in the past couple of years, ignorance is bliss. Steak.
Delicious. Delicious. You were telling me about a steak. You were going on and on about a steak. Was it good?
It was weird. Like, it was a 12-ounce ribeye.
Yeah, tell me about your steak. I want to know about your steak.
Okay, so it was a 12-ounce ribeye. And, it was just shaped weird.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't just like... well, first of all, it was cut thin. But so there was, like, more of the... like, some of the outer parts of the ribeye.
Mm-hmm.
Like, around... like, the ribeye was cut wrong. But they managed to get 12 ounces... and it came in really weird. I mean, it was delicious. It was well prepared.
Where did you get this steak?
I got a DoorDash from Logan's.
Okay. I know Logan's.
Yeah, I got a DoorDash from Logan's. It was weird. It was yummy. I had sauteed mushrooms and bourbon butter put on it.
Ooh, that sounds good. Huh.
It was delicious. It was well prepared. It was just kind of a rectangle.
Rectangle ribeye, man.
With the ribeye in the middle of it.
That's fascinating.
I got some like really random trimmings of the other cuts. I mean, it ate perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was also like a quarter-inch thick, which. I like my ribeyes to be, at least a half-inch thick. Sure,
I get that. You're you're kind of like a medium rare guy, right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, it was medium. No, I like my steaks medium rare, and stuff like that. And the steak was medium rare by all accounts. It was on the thin side, but as I said, it was just shaped weird.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like one of those things because it's always you eat with your eyes before you actually put it in your mouth, right?
I mean, no, because I'm not dumb.
I get that.
I don't try to jam my steak in my eye. That's how you go blind.
It's a figure of speech, Lettuce, and I know you're just being a dick. Come on, man.
Today is me being a dick day. I made multiple jokes. I made multiple jokes about nuclear holocaust, for crying out loud.
It's the Rishia thing, isn't it? It's because I wanted to talk about Rishia, and you're like, oh, here we go.
No, I was just explaining why Japan is the way it is.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Either either we should have left them alone or we didn't hit them hard enough. It's one or the other.
I just want to know why Rishia wears a fursuit. That's all. That's it.
To fill the scene, dude. You are overthinking this on a character who might as well not be in the series right at this point.
Let me explain this a little bit just to give you an idea, okay? Just to give you an idea. And I know you're probably expecting this, but I have laid back in bed 3 a.m. laying there comfortably with my eyes wide open looking at the ceiling. And I say to myself, why is Rishia wearing a fursuit? Why?
You want to know why you're having nightmares?
Because Rishia's wearing a fursuit!
Because you're letting it bother you. This little small, like, supposedly insignificant function in your life has absorbed way too much of your idle time. You should probably masturbate more. I don't know where I was going with that. It's consuming way too much of your idle time, and your brain is destroying itself so that when you finally do go to sleep, you have nightmares. Just accept it for what it is. It's a mechanism for the director to fill out the scene, to justify having anything on the screen at all.
Yeah.
Because anime is still a visual medium. Just accept it for what it is. She has no point in the anime. So she would be a tree. If they didn't want to kind of drag her along just in case she might do something stupid.
Right. I will say that she has more purpose than a lot of other female anime characters that I've seen in other animes, especially ones that I'm watching currently. Like, I gotta give her some kind of credit here because, I mean, so she is a character who she's very down on herself. So she's got an inferiority complex. She always thinks that she's not good enough and not doing enough. She has a backstory of being part of one of the other hero characters' parties, and she was kicked out because she wasn't good enough. And that character told her to her face that she was not good enough. And that fed into her inferiority complex, which is basically a flaw for the character, which makes her relatively distinguishable as a character, in my opinion. However, with that knowledge,
her only character trait is she sucks.
That was literally what I was just about to say. I was literally just about to say, despite that one distinguishing feature, which is she has a very serious inferiority complex, which multiple characters feed into, she really doesn't have much of any qualities that are useful. Like, and it's funny because they do that thing where the other characters are like, oh no, like, if it wasn't for your input, we wouldn't have known to do this, and thus we need you in our party. And it's like, no. Like,
you're watching a furry anime where one character's the urinal, where there's the litter box.
You just call her a urinal?
Yeah, then I changed it to litter box to make it more on point.
I don't know, man. Urinal's pretty good. I think I like that.
I mean, they're furries. It's got to be a litter box. You don't train birds to use the urinal. You give them some paper to lay down. This character is a disused newspaper lining everybody's bird cage.
You're right. You know what? I don't even, like, I can't argue with that, man. And that's the thing. Like, when it comes down to it, like, and especially having this conversation with you really did actually make me be attentive to something that I didn't think about while viewing the show before talking to you about it. And I'm being serious. Like, I'm like, yes, this is a joke, but at the same time, I'm dead serious. This is something I didn't think about until talking with you about this. It's a furry anime. Raftalia is a raccoon. Like, the other girl character is a giant bird. And freaking this girl with green hair, she wears a bird suit. Like,
Yeah,
it's a furry anime. You're right, man.
She's intentionally culturally appropriating the bird lady's culture just to dagger at the bird lady.
It was a furry anime the whole goddamn time, dude. And I was blind to it. But you, sir, Mr. Lettuce,
Having never seen the anime.
you knew the whole time.
Yeah, having never seen it, I was having never seen a single frame in the anime. Just off of your description and knowing that there's like 4 animes to tell, like there's 4 like trope lines that every anime follows. This is a high fantasy furry anime.
I just can't believe that I was tricked into watching a furry anime this whole time. Let it be known here and now that Shield Hero, it always was a furry anime and always will be.
I mean, you can't not like throw a stone and not hit like 3 furry animes.
I thought that you were gonna make a Glass House reference. And I was about to say, let he who is without furries cast the first stone.
It's either a high fantasy anime, it's a furry anime, it's a high school brothel anime.
Oh man!
Like there's a couple of tropes that most animes just kind of gravitate towards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No,
And you kind of hope that they tell a good story inside the very tight constraints of the very few tropes they try to follow.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I will say this. I think I'd appreciate Shield Hero a little bit more if it had more boobies in it, for sure. Because that's something I was also thinking about while we were talking about all this. I was going on a discussion about my recent enjoyment of watching more booby animes. And something that I thought about is I was like, you know what, surprisingly? Shield Hero doesn't have very many boobies in it. It really doesn't. Like, I mean, you have all these furry chicks, but you don't really see them get naked very much. Like, at all, actually. I can't recall a single episode.
2 of the characters are emotionally and mentally preteen.
I mean, you're right. Like, most anime is like that, though. Like, there was, what was it? Oh, man. I was watching an anime recently where through the majority of the anime, I was absolutely convinced that the main characters were adults. Like, legit. I legit thought that they were in their, like, they were either, like, they were at the very least probably, like, I thought maybe at the bare minimum, maybe 17, but I thought that they were all, like, in their 20s. And there was, like, what, god damn, what anime was it that I was watching? I can't recall at the moment. I've been watching so much anime lately that they all just kind of blend together like one goddamn anime mess. But I was watching an anime where I was totally convinced that the characters were like probably in their early 20s or at the very least like 17 years old. And then they had a moment where they're like, oh yeah, like blah, blah, blah's like 14. And I was like, shut the up. Are you kidding me? I thought that bitch was 20. You can't do that, man. Like, because they even like work jobs and stuff like that. But then they're like, oh yeah, like I've been going to like work like while I'm going to high school on the side. You just never see me in high school because this isn't a school. This isn't an anime that takes place in a high school. And it's just like, bitch, I thought you were like 20. Like, what is like? You can't just drop that on me like 6 episodes in. Like, I mean, yeah, you could do that, but like, why? Why would you do that? It's like, well, because they all have to be 14, don't they? Don't they, Mr. Lettuce? They all like if it's anime, they have to be freaking like, ugh, makes me feel terrible. That's why, like, that's another
I
thing.
mean,
Like,
they don't have to be 14.
yeah,
There's not a there's I mean, sure, if they are 14,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Well,
Uh, but I guess you don't realize how rampant child labor is in Japan.
I believe you. I'm not going to doubt that in the slightest because
Yeah,
I've seen
they don't
animes
have.
where they have like 12-year-olds who do work. I've seen animes that do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like slave labor or nothing. I mean, as young as 10,
Sure.
10-year-olds work in shops doing menial shop tasks, and they collect their wage for it. But I mean, child labor is something that is still traditionally not like awkward in
Mm-hmm.
Japan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's definitely a totally different side of society. Like, I mean, totally different side of the world. And it's just like social norms for us are just like totally different over there. And sometimes I wonder. Like, and that's like another thing too that I was going to say. Like, one of the things that I adamantly stand by, like, I watch a lot of anime, and a lot of anime has, like, oh, they're like young high school girls. Oh, they're in sexual situations. And it's like, I don't like, and as a person who I don't watch like hentai. I don't watch hentai. Like, and the thing is that like when I say
Neither
that,
do I.
I for sure, homie. What I was about to say was I don't sexualize anime. I watch like animes that are sexual, but like I can sit back and watch an anime. Like I can watch a booby anime, right? Where nipples are out. These girls are like, in these sexual situations or whatever. That shit don't turn me on, man. Because like it's anime. Like I don't know, like, and I get that, like, obviously, like, there are many people who are to the contrary of that. Like they're like, oh, like, my waifu, she's so sexy, like she turns me on, blah 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 blah, and like oh, like these like anime girls are so sexy and they turn me on. And I don't feel that way. I don't think I've ever really felt that way before about an anime in my life. Like I'm trying to like, I don't know, like I don't think so. I'm trying to think if there's really like any anime that have ever done that to me, but I've never. And a part of it too is that like the knowledge that a lot of those anime girls are underage too, because it's just like that doesn't do it for me. Like I'll be straight up. Like I mean, I'm an avid anime enjoyer, and I can wholeheartedly, with all of my heart and all of my honesty, say that young girls in any fashion do not I'm just not attracted to. Like it doesn't matter if they're real or it doesn't matter if they're like it doesn't matter if they're real or animated or whatever. Just not attracted to like young girls. Like I don't get that. Like I mean, and I know that that's like a thing where it's like, well, this is just young girls. And it's like I love me some older ladies, man. I've expressed that many times. Give me some hot MILF action. I'll get down on that. Hell yeah, let's go. But like I don't know. I just never really feel like I can like sexualize women in that fashion specifically, like when they're like, especially in anime and stuff like that. Like so I can like enjoy it, and like I can like, for example, I was talking about To Love Ru, and like, that's a booby anime, but like it doesn't turn me on. It's just funny. Like it's just silly, ridiculous and funny. So, I don't know. It's very, I just can't sexualize like anime. It's never been that way. And I love looking at real women. I to my core love looking at real older women.
I mean, yeah, but as we discussed before, we have to remember the age of consent in Japan is 13.
Yeah, no, I know that. But and that's like I'm sure that in their country where that shit's illegal, I mean, where that shit is legal, I'm sure it works out just fine for them. And I'm not here to talk about the moral standards of what they're doing over there, even though I, personally would disagree. But they're living their best lives over there in their country with,
Well,
their
I mean,
laws of consent.
it's 13. It's 13 with a huge asterisk hanging off of it.
Sure. But you live your best life, Japan. You live your best life. Kawaii desune.
Yeah, like
Nihongu Jozu.
the bulk of Japan, the age of consent is actually 16 through 18. With the caveat being 13 is acceptable, basically with parental consent, and it is a sincere romantic relationship.
Another thing too, is they still do arranged marriages, if I remember correctly. That's still like a thing that is like legally applicable, if I remember correctly. So like the idea is that like when you say like with parents' consent and stuff like that, I think a lot of the time when that stuff happens, like parents' consent for young age, marriage and stuff like that, I think it's because they still do arranged marriages. So like
very declining.
That makes sense though. Like
I mean, it's still a thing.
It's an old world system though, right?
I mean, well, Japan is still very an old world country.
Yeah.
Arranged marriages are like sharp decline.
But I think that makes sense. Like, I mean,
yeah,
like,
in my lifetime, it's gone from 30% to less than 10. So in the 40 something years I've been alive, it's cut, and it's cut to just 25% of what it was.
I mean, but I do believe, like, I was just trying to make a point that I think that their age of consent laws are based on that concept originally, probably. I mean, there's probably a lot more contributing to it than just that, but it wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I mean, that's probably, I mean, you're probably right there where, arranged marriages, if you're betrothed to someone that's 10 years older than you, and they hit 24 and are ready to take you on, have at it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. I think I'm comfortable with starting to wrap this up. What do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've done enough damage here for one day.
You had some gut busters in there, buddy.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they don't call me fat boy for nothing.
If there's any one thing that I could definitely get across here is just why Rishia? Why? I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, I'm glad we talked this out because I think I understand that it's something that I have to accept, but it's just I don't know. It's just why Rishia? Why do you do this?
Oh, my bad. It was Fat Man and Little Boy.
You're right.
That's our nicknames for this show. I'm Fat Man and you're Little Boy.
Let's never ever refer to ourselves as Fat Man and Little Boy, okay? I don't ever want.
I don't know.
You know what? You be the guy who has the opener one day where you introduce you and me as Fat Man and Little Boy. How do you feel about that?
I mean, sure. Sounds good.
All right, man. I'm going to accept the idea that was, your last words here for this. Because normally I would say, well, is there anything else you want to say? I'm going to accept the idea that was what you wanted to say. So I'm going to say all of the wonderful things that we say at the end of our podcast, as well as most of the other forms of content I do, which is if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. If you leave a comment down below asking, why does Rishia wear a fursuit? I will give you an internet cookie. I will give you brownie points. Okay, so go down below into the comments and leave a comment down below saying, why do you wear a fursuit, Rishia? And I will give you credit for that. So like, comment, and subscribe. You know what? Even better, tell me. Explain to me why Rishia wears a fursuit. I would love to know answers for this as well. Go ahead and hit the notification bell if you haven't already and you're newly subscribed or whatever. And go ahead and check in the description below for all the wonderful links such as PayPal and Streamlabs. All donations are greatly appreciated and really, really help the channel out. We greatly appreciate that. Wonderful shout out to the amazing Patreon members, which include Bo Falcon, Fajuk Enterprises, James P., the lovely, lovely Miss Rebecca, as well as Scorpageist. Thank you, Patreon members, for helping us out on a regular basis. It's super appreciated. Also, I want to once again get it out there that we are doing the Teespring merch. I recently dropped a new design. The Lady of the Night design is back on re-release for a very short amount of time. I'm currently working on another design. I got a lot of progress done today specifically, but it still needs more work. And as soon as I can get that out, once it's finally out on the Teespring merch line, we are going to pull the Lady of the Night merch off again, and it'll be gone for a very long time. It might not ever make a return. So look into the Teespring down below. Follow me or Lettuce on Twitter. It is also down in the description below. And also, Lettuce's channel is always down in the description below as well. So check him out. He greatly appreciates it. I'm just going to say that for him because I'm sure he knows that it's true. You greatly appreciate that, don't you?
I'm the bomb.
Yeah, he is. So go and subscribe to Mr. Lettuce if you can do that as well. That'd be amazing. But I think, other than that, we have been the Imaginary Boys. Good night, everybody. Why do you wear a fursuit, Rishia? Why?